And I don't know if this is appropriate, but I've got a 15-year-old daughter now, these days. And I just popped into my head on this one. It's a weird one, isn't it? I need to tell you, there will be plenty of radio phone-ins where you can just ring in and give an opinion that's based upon things other than the facts. You know, that's fine. And there's not a great deal we can do about that. But the way I approach these matters is by imagining, as the law must do, the universality of the case. So I'm not sure that... See, there's so much going on here that you worry that you're about to contradict yourself, which is why I've already apologised for any mistakes that I may make in the course of this introduction, because I don't think that the Home Secretary, Sajid Javid it was at the time, should be able to strip anybody of their citizenship. I would say anybody. It doesn't seem to me to be a measure that a politician should have, to be able to... And the way I explain that is not by saying Shamima Begum citizenship, but by saying your citizenship. I don't think Priti Patel should be able to tell you that you're not British anymore, legally. I just think that's rang. Rang? I was trying to combine rank and wrong then, and it came out as rang. I do apologise. Do you see what I mean? I may... But that is not what the Supreme Court has presided over in this case. What the Supreme Court has presided over in this case is whether or not this individual should be allowed to return to the UK for a court case about the other issue, about whether or not a politician should have been able to revoke her Britishness, her actual citizenship of the country where she was born and raised. So I usually back myself to see the wood for the trees on cases like this, and I do so today as well. But if I do misstep, then feel free to tell me. That's the bottom line here, isn't it? There are two cases, and I don't know that the result that's handed down by the Supreme Court today, because actually a bit like yesterday, when I found myself coming on air after Nick, pretty much from a similar perspective. Like him, I feel that she should be subject to British justice, and having your citizenship revoked doesn't seem to me to be a gift or a penalty that should be in the gift of a British politician. But there are two things going on. This is not a judgment on whether or not Sajid Javid was right or entitled to revoke her citizenship. It's a judgment on whether or not she should be allowed back into this country to fight that battle. And a large part of the judgment seems to hinge upon the fact that the security services do not feel confident that they would be able to keep a proper eye on her. And I'm afraid wherever you sit, whatever you do, that's valid. If the security services don't feel they can keep a proper eye on someone who ran away to Syria to join the psychopathic Islamist caliphate, then I think we have to kind of take their word for it. And I guess that's what the judges have done. So I stress again, you know, that there will be loads of radio phone. It's possibly not on this station, actually, but there'll be plenty of places you can ring in because you just hate Muslims generally. And this is a wonderful opportunity to sort of vent it in a slightly less obvious way. But I want to talk about whether or not Priti Patel should have the right to revoke your citizenship. Actually, not hers, not Shamima Begum's, but yours. This is a great victory for British justice. Why? I've no idea, just don't like brown people. That's categorically not a conversation that we're going to have today. So save your tuppence, seriously, and put the phone down. I want to see her put on trial here for whatever crimes she is accused of. For example, I suppose incitement to terrorism. Did she persuade the other two girls to go with her? Was she the ringleader? Is she responsible for that? And I do need to remind you, I'm not a big fan of whataboutery, but I do need to remind you that a teenager in this country was recently spared jail for running a Nazi terror cell from his grandmother's cottage in Cornwall. So no jail at all for him, and no citizenship whatsoever for Shamima Begum. But that's not what today's case is about. That's not what today's judgment is about. Today's judgment is simply about whether or not she should be allowed back into the UK from Syria at the moment.